Hi, welcome back to my class. Today we're going to talk about sampling method. So when we talk about the experience, we always mention about sampling because it's unrealistic to get the population data. So how can we get the sample data? So today we'll talk about it. For example, if we want to survey a SPSCC student on how much they pay for their housing per month. So there are multiple ways to sampling. The first one is census. So census basically is try to get the population data, which is measure the whole population. Oops, sorry. So in this case, in our example, that means we want to ask every single SPSCC student. Okay, so what is simple random sample? So that means we randomly selected the students in a mathematical way. For example, we randomize the list of students' ID and choose the top 100. Okay, stratify. Stratify is you separate the population into groups and do the simple random within each group. So first of all, you need to separate them. Separate the population into groups. And then do a simple random within each group. Okay, such as we separate the SPSC student into major and randomly to select 10 students from different major. So the key word here is you need to select it from each group. Okay, so what is cluster? So cluster is separate the population into groups, the same as stratify, but instead of doing the simple random within each group, cluster is ask everyone in couple groups. So for example, we separate the SPC student into major. And then we randomly select two majors. Let's say random select business and accountant. And then we survey every student who's in business and accountant. Okay, so systematic is you pick a random star and doing every nth after that. For example, we sort students by their ID, and then we pick every 10 students to survey. Such as we pick the 10, and then the next student is the 20th, and then the 30th, and then the 14th, and go on. So multi-stage sample method is the combination. Basically, it's the combination of sampling method. That means you can do stratify and cluster at the same time, or you can first of all separate into groups and then randomly pick two groups, which is cluster, right? And then after you pick up, okay, the student major in business and accountant, and then we sort the student by ID and then pick every fifth of the student. So we're combining cluster and the systematic to survey. Okay, so these are the method that you can, this is the sampling method that you can choose. And then there are some bias method. So bias is any systematic failure of sampling method to represent the population. A sample is biased if it does not represent the true population. There's no way to fix the bias status, so it's better to design a good survey to begin with. Do you remember at the beginning of this class, I talked about that, hey, we're trying to measure the average height of the SPSCC student, but the sample we pick is the student who are in basketball team. So this is a bias method because we know that the basketball team, they're athletic, they tend to be taller. They can represent the whole population of SPSCC student. Okay, so there are two bias methods. The first one is called voluntary or self-selected sampling. So volunteer or self-selected sampling is made up of people who self-selected into the survey. So often these folks will have a strong interest in the main topic of the survey. So for example, the news show asks the viewers to participate in an online poll. So this sample is chosen by the viewer, not by the survey administrator. So this is voluntary or self-selected sampling method. So usually those viewers will have a strong opinion or strong interest into the main topic of the survey. So that will create some bias. So the second one is convenience sampling. So convenience sampling is where individual who are easily accessible are more likely to be included in the sample. For instance, if a political survey is done by stopping people by studying SPSCC, this will not represent all the Washington state take it because we take it by convenience, right? So if we got a sample just by stopping the people who study or the student studying in SPSCC, we know that this is not going to represent all Washington state. Okay, that's it for today. Let me know if you have any other questions.